Welcome to Palace of Pistons After Dark. We're going to be calling it POP After Dark, a new podcast from the Palace of Pistons crew. My name is Tim Forkin, and I will be your host. Here's what I have written down as the description of this podcast. Unhinged takes and jokes about the Pistons and NBA at large, including fake trades, rants, conspiracy theories, and more with a rotating cast of characters from the POP team. Before we start, I have two things to ask of you and two things to promise you. First, the asks. Number one, listen to this podcast on 1.2 or 1.25 speed. I promise it will make you enjoy the experience so much more. And number two, could you share this feed and this podcast and this episode, and every time you see my face or this podcast on your Twitter, share it with everyone you know. Now, the promises. Number one, this is going to be a hell of a fun time. You can tell in this episode and with the people we have and the ideas we have that this is going to be a blast, and I hope you stick around. And number two, we will never be bought out by Woodward Sports. We will not become Woodward Sports, as cringy as they are. And if we ever do end up sounding like Woodward Sports, this podcast and my face will cease to exist from the internet.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another exciting night of NBA basketball.
You gotta have fucking heart, so that's what it's about.
So we got peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly for real.
Détroit, le Paris du Centre-Ouest.
Come on, bruh.
That is utter nonsense.
Come on, bruh.
So far, so good.
All right, I'm here with everyone's favorite, Zariq, a.k.a. the premier prayer on Detroit sports media's downfall. A lot to talk about there. But I wanted to talk today about something very close to us, something that we talk about a lot in our group chats and even individually, is this Pistons despair complex. Basically, the season being over before December even starts. Do you think the Pistons are going to get out of this? As much as we think and hope and always feel like we're close, it always comes back and bites us.
Here's the thing, right? I was one of the people that started this season with the expectation of we're not going to be like world beaters. We're not going to be like serious, but I think we have the chance to improve. I think we have the chance to make a play-in push. I give up. I've already given up.
Mind you, we're recording this on November 23rd, 2022.
It's November 23rd, 2022, but it was November 23rd, 2021. It was November 23rd, 2020. I don't know how much more of this I have in me. Like I joke about it, but these teams just take so much out of me. It's okay. We started off the season that opening night against the Magic filled with hope. It's like a start of a relationship. It's great.
Yeah, I was in the building. It felt like a stone had been turned. It felt like the future was here. You got Jalen Duren dunking on people. You got Ivy being everything we hoped he'd be. You have Cade, who was getting into form like he usually does. Cade's injury thing recently just completely set it off. Like, we don't know what's going to happen as we're recording. The season quite possibly could be dead on November 23rd.
The thing is that the start of the season, that high lasted one day.
It's just any drug. It's just like you can never get that first time.
No, one day where I was like, wow, we might actually be respectable. We might actually be fun to watch. I was wrong. I was very wrong. We played that game against the Knicks in the beginning of the season. I think it was the second or third game. I can't remember.
I want to say second.
Yeah. Literally by then, I was like, okay, I see what this is. I was tricked. I was tricked by the first game. Any time you want to gauge how the Pistons are going to do in a season, Watch how they play against the New York Knicks.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
That's
Preseason too. The preseason they were terrible against the Knicks.
Gosh, can I swear?
Oh yeah.
They got shit on by the Knicks in the preseason. And I was like, oh, it's just preseason, no big deal. Like, Cade's shot looks weird, but it's preseason, I'm sure. It's preseason. Cade's got to be faking it, so the rest of the season.
Oh yeah. There's tweets of mine out there saying that exact thing. Oh yeah. I was like, yeah. He told me he's warming up. He's getting everybody else involved. He told me that he's gonna turn it on. And then
between me and you, I was DMing with Ashton, the trainer. And we were having a talk during preseason, and we were just like, hey man, like what's going on with Cade? Like why is he looking like this? And he said, Zar, listen to me. I said, okay. He said, Zar, look, man, preseason doesn't matter, right? Like you and I both know this. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, that's true, but like, why is he thinking that? He's like, hold on, don't cut me off. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And it was like, he goes, Cade does not care about preseason. As a matter of fact, he hates preseason. That's why he missed preseason last year. That's why he started the season last year looking like trash. He does it on purpose. You don't realize. People don't realize he does this on purpose. That way, teams don't know how to prepare for him because they're going to think one thing, and the next time, he's just going to pull up from 40, and you won't expect it. While they sleep, we work it, That's how the conversation ended, and then he blocked me. Yeah, it's like Ashton seems like a sweet guy and all, but on a real note, how much longer can we do this? Like, how much longer can we be like, oh, this loss doesn't matter because we're in the midst of a restoration. It's a rebuild. This doesn't matter. It's all about the growth. I'm not seeing much growth, to be honest with you. I'm seeing Saddiq Bey lose the ability to shoot from the three-point line for the second season in a row, mind you. And then, okay, cool. Isaiah Stewart, he looks better. I'll give him that. He didn't grow physically, but he does look better. He's been shooting from three. He's like a little PJ Tucker out there. Like, love that for him.
You can't forget the prodigal son, Killian Hayes, who has silenced all the doubters. He read the tweets. He's shooting 1,000,000% from three in the past maybe 8 games.
Yeah.
And he's French. The World Cup's going on, so he's got an increased boost. He's feeling some nationalism for his country.
Yep. I actually had a talk with Killian also.
Oh.
I did. I think I said something like, man, like 7 stinks. Like number 7 on the Pistons, he stinks. And I got a DM from like some anonymous account, and I was like, what is this? So then I took a look, and I was like, who is this? And he said, hey man, it's me, Killian Hayes. And I said, oh shit, what's up, man? And he said, hey man, I saw your tweet. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't think you saw that. I was like, you only have like 2 liked tweets on Twitter. So like, I didn't really think you checked here much. He said, yes, I do. This is my account. I said, oh, okay. He said, I know what the last couple of years have looked like, but trust me, once the World Cup starts, you will see. He said, you will see, bitch boy. You will see.
What's even crazier is that, like, I was dreaming, and Elon Musk was there. And then right behind Elon Musk was Kevin O'Connor on his shoulders. And Kevin told me in the dream, he said, those negative Pistons tweets that you're throwing out, how you've given up on Killian, I see you wavering back and forth. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. He will rise. He will rise.
He will rise.
And then at that very moment, Elon Musk rose and Kevin O'Connor fell and ate shit off his back. And then I woke up and Killian Hayes started shooting 1,000,000% from three.
Yeah.
Killian Hayes is French, and I wanted to bring it back to what we first started talking about. This is the earliest I've ever cared about the NBA draft.
Me too.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I think I was an NBA draft nerd before I was a Pistons fan, honestly. Like, when I was fully conscious of the NBA draft before I was fully conscious of the hellscape that is being a Pistons fan. I was 13 when Anthony Bennett got drafted and Bill Simmons creamed all over the ESPN set. But there's no way we get Victor Wembanyama, right? Like, no chance. The NBA is obviously a scam. It's rigged. The lottery doesn't happen. There are ulterior motives. There's no way we get Victor, right? Like, there's no chance.
So I would like to say that we have a good chance of getting Victor, even if we are the worst team in the league. However, I just don't see it happening, to be honest with you.
No chance.
No, like there's no feeling in me that's like Victor Wembanyama. I can't even imagine him in a Pistons uniform.
Nope. That Mr. Pro Designs or whatever.
Yeah, it didn't look right.
No. Usually, the ones that do look right are like the Cade one looked right. The Kevin Durant one looked right, but Victor,
I just can't see it.
No, he did a good job on the edit. Give him all the credit in the world. He's great at his thing.
Yeah.
My mind like blocks it out. It's like blue and black, but like the blue and black dress, but it's just like Victor in a Charlotte Hornets jersey, no matter what.
Have you heard? There was like some report about how like they actually do the lottery. Did you see it?
It's ping pong balls, but it's like also not ping.
Not even that. No, it was a different report. It was like they said like something about like how like it was connected to like Kyrie somehow.
Oh.
Yeah. It's weird. Like they try to silence Kyrie because he knows the truth about the NBA draft lottery. It's a full takedown report. Basically, everything we have been seeing replace. Wow.
Yeah, swoosh sound. You like that? All right. So, back from our fake break, as every podcaster says they're going to go to break. Not true. They just hit a button to make a sound. Here, I'll hit it again. There you go.
Yeah.
I want to talk about these recent Sadiq Bey rumors, and they feed into the Pistons despair complex because there has been a cycle that has been going on for the past 7 years of Pistons seasons, and it starts with draft a player who shows some initial signs of promise, has a stellar rookie year or something of the sort, shows regression in the second year, and the third year kind of meets in the middle between the skills they developed in their rookie year and sophomore year. And all signs point to that player not even making it to a second contract because they've been given up on too soon. And Sadiq Bey is the latest in the long line. You're thinking Bruce Brown. We're thinking Luke Kennard. We're thinking Sekou Doumbouya. Three players who we paraded the successes of. And now Sadiq Bey finds himself in the spot. Jake Fisher says that teams are calling about Sadiq Bey, and the Pistons are answering. And I'm sure there'll be some stuff in the pod about Sadiq trades, but I want to talk about this complex. Why are the Pistons so enamored with giving up on players too soon?
Okay, so this is a good question. And I'm going to answer it like this. Compared to like the Luke Kennard situation, Luke Kennard, white guy, bad hairline.
I did not think about that.
White guy, bad hairline. And as we're going into the stages of a rebuild, just can't have that. White guys with bad hairlines on an NBA team, bad vibes. Bruce Brown, loved him to death.
Love that guy.
But everybody knows he was going to embarrass Killian in practice. That's what the rumors say.
That is true.
Yeah, and we can't have that. That's bad vibes. He's got to go. And then Sekou just broke my heart. I don't have a joke for that one.
I mean, there's no joke to be made.
No.
He sucked.
The actual answer is none of the players are really good enough to see a second contract and invest in them, to be honest with you. Luke Kennard is a valuable role player in the NBA. He's the only one I think like you can make the case for. I really wanted to keep Bruce Brown, but like I do understand why we let him go. Sadiq Bey, I feel is better than all of those players. He might be in the Luke Kennard tier, but he's not white. And that's what separates him because you put a name like Luke Kennard in the trade market, teams are just gonna go, what is this guy, like 46? They're not going to look at his stats. They're not going to look at his stats. They're just going to go, look at this guy. They're going to look at his headshot. They're going to look at his hairline. You know, this is the type of guy that you get, like, and you're just like, okay, well, he's on the team. Like, nobody's going to put out, like, a Luke Kennard, like, jersey swap. It's just not going to happen. He doesn't look cool enough. Now, Sadiq Bey, cool name, first of all. He's not white. He's got tattoos. He thinks he's the Joker. He might be borderline personality disorder. We don't know.
Dude. All the things you're saying are true. And if my memory serves me correctly, there will be someone in the Pistons community who will correct me in saying this if I'm wrong. But I believe the last Piston to make it to a second contract was Andre Drummond.
That we drafted?
That we drafted.
I would say that is correct. Yeah. That's really sad, actually.
It's very sad, right?
That's
We didn't draft Reggie Jackson. The crimes that Jeff Bauer, Stan Van Gundy, Ed Stefanski committed, none of them made it through.
Yeah.
And we are facing, I think what Troy Weaver's doing is he really cares about the Pistons' history.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the teams of the past, both the good and the bad, and he realizes the one constant of the past 20 years is you do not take a player their second contract. And we saw what happened when they did. We saw what happened. Andre Drummond made an all-star team and turned into a pumpkin.
Yeah,
He turned into a pumpkin. Like you look at Sadiq Bey and you look at, like you said, Luke Kennard. Perfect comparison. Both shooters.
Yeah.
Different skin tones. I'll leave that to the masses, as you already have laid out. Yeah. But he wants to restore the Pistons. But this isn't a factory reset. This is like reloading, like your Apple Time Machine save from 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always been like that, and people don't realize that. Like when you think of restore, what do you think of? Like going back to the glory days? No.
I restore files that I accidentally deleted, and
exactly.
he restored the memo that says, "Do not dare let a Piston reach their second contract."
And I respect the hell out of it. I do, because he saw Desmond Bane in the draft, and he was like, "Hey man, we're gonna draft you. Don't worry." But then he realized along that process, he was like, "Wait, I made a mistake. I should not have promised him, because I'm gonna have to give him a second contract. It's just gonna have to happen." And he was correct. You're not gonna throw Desmond Bane out in the trade market. You're just not gonna do that. And that's why we had to go ahead and pass up on him. Sadiq Bey, cool name, cool hair, cool borderline personality disorder, cool Joker complex. Cool. He wears a cool number, 41. He's got a Kobe tattoo. That's really cool. He's just cool. And I'm just gonna have to you put yourself in the shoes of an NBA GM, and you're like, all right, who do I want to trade for here? Like Cam Johnson or Sadiq Bey? Yeah. I'm gonna go for Sadiq Bey. He's a bad boy, like he's the type of guy that you bring home, your daughter brings home, and you're like, something's a little off about him.
Yeah,
like,
you're immediately just like scared of him.
Yeah, like you're not, like, as a man, you're not supposed to be intimidated by like a 17-year-old boy. But something about this guy just doesn't sit right with you, and you're not man enough to say anything to him. You're just gonna have to sit there at the dinner table, and when he says something, you just have to take it. Like he'll be like, pass the mashed potatoes, be like, yes sir, okay. And your daughter's gonna look at you, and she's gonna be like, Dad, and you can't admit to your daughter that you brought into this world that her 17-year-old boyfriend scares you a little bit. Not in the way that, like, you're scared he's going to hurt her, just in the way that he's a little off-putting, like he's, something about him just doesn't sit right with you. And that's the type of guy Sadiq Bey is. So
I don't have anything to add. I will close with this, though. We're talking about the second contract syndrome, the first major component of Pistons' despair complex. My last question, and it's kind of a conspiracy theory, what is the second contract avoidance? What does this mean for Cade Cunningham, right? What does this mean for Cade Cunningham to go down with an injury, an undisclosed shin injury. Shin, kind of an uncommon place to get an injury. What does this mean for his second contract? Right? Are the Pistons putting themselves in a situation where you don't have to pay Cade the max because you're unsure he's healthy? Is that kind of like your way of getting out of the second contract?
Yeah.
If Andre Drummond, the greatest Piston,
Of course.
Tom Gore's all-time favorite player, if Cade can't even reach that, and there's some inside stuff going on where Cade's getting injured, they refuses to start the season properly, he finishes third in Rookie of the Year off of sheer will. What does this mean for his second contract? Now I'm putting the pieces together and seeing the signs of, like, the Pistons will do anything not to pay a player $30 million a year. No basketball player is worth that.
No. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. So you think about Cade's chances at a second contract, right? And you would think automatically you'd be like, this is a no-brainer. Cade, second contract? What are you talking about here? Like, come on. Like, our listeners are definitely like, come on. Like, this isn't even a topic of conversation, but hear me out. You take out the letters C and E in Cade. What does that give you?
AD.
AD. Who else shared the initials AD? Andre Drummond.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm
oh my. I mean,
so I'm just saying it's the probability seems pretty good, but that third contract's a question, and you would think like God, like Cade, that's a number one pick. People around the league are like, this guy's a franchise guy. He's going to be a superstar. Why isn't Tom Gores, going up and running, with his hair all frizzed up and looking all crazy? Why isn't he doing that anymore? Cade Cunningham and Tom Gores had a conversation. This is a report. This is an exclusive. Tom Gores and Cade Cunningham had a conversation when Cade was first drafted, and it went something along the lines of like, Cade, love to have you. We're so excited to have you. I was blessed from God with the number one pick. By the grace of God, you're sitting right next to me. Whatever I can do, I will do. Please don't leave. To which Cade Cunningham said, he just snapped his fingers. He snapped his fingers like this, and he said, be quiet. And then Tom Gores, he went silent. Cade brought up the idea of going vegan. And Tom Gores was like, oh, I'm a big meat guy. I love meat. To which Cade was like, not my thing, man. And he goes, I love meat. And Cade goes, what are you talking about? He goes, love meat. And Cade felt uncomfortable and walked out of the room. So, allegedly, Tom Gores and Cade Cunningham just aren't on speaking terms. And all of the relationship building done between them has been done between Tom Gores and Ashton, the trainer. They share.
That would make sense.
Yeah, they share a couple of beers a week. Cade doesn't drink. He tried to force Tom Gores to stop drinking, which Gores now feels like ashamed of. That's why he's not courtside anymore, because he can't quit. We all know.
It would make sense. It would make sense. At first, I was thinking that Ashton, the trainer, was like the things that Cade wishes he could tweet.
Yeah.
But now looking back, a lot of the John Collins stuff,
Yep.
a lot of the We Want Paulo stuff.
Yep.
I think Ashton is a direct line to Tom Gores.
Yep. And you think about it, because it's like, man, Tom Gores, we don't really hear much about him besides like the advertisements he puts for himself. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, can we prove Ashton the trainer is real?
Aaron did say that he saw him at the Pistons game we went to, but
is he a paid actor? I mean, think about it. Like he just appeared one day. All of a sudden, he's Cade Cunningham's cousin. And I'm like, what the hell? Cade's last name isn't the trainer. So I'm like, okay, it must be on his mom's side.
all right, I'm here with Jasper the premier storyteller of the Palace of Pistons group chat, one of my favorite Twitter follows. He made the beat. Any beat you hear on this show for the eternity will be Jasper. And today we're talking about trades and fake trades, and I'm naming this segment, You Are a Detroit Piston. Jasper, the player in the news has been John Collins, but my sources...
Your sauces are telling you.
My sauces are telling me that Saddiq Bey may or may not be available. So, I want to hear first your thoughts, and then we'll dive into some fake trades. What are your thoughts on John Collins, and then what are your thoughts on the Pistons leaving Saddiq Bey maybe out there for the taking?
Well, first off, John Collins trade rumors are a lot like Matthew Stafford trade rumors. Like, they're just there for like 8 years, and you don't think it's ever going to happen, and then probably when you least expect it, it will. He's a really good player. Me, personally, I don't understand why the Hawks want to offload him so badly. It seems to me like he fits a lot of what they need there. I mean, obviously, they have Okongwu, they have Clint Capella, but, like, John Collins is one of the most skilled offensive players at his position, really at almost any position for a guy of his height and his athletic ability. His amount of skill, the fact that he can shoot, like actually shoot the basketball, I don't get why they want to move on from him so bad. Doesn't make sense to me.
Dude, oh no! We lost Jasper.
Dude, sorry, I don't know what the hell just happened. My screen just like turned white and died on me. Sorry about that.
Jasper didn't want to hear my metaphor. All right, I'll do it
true.
again.
I saw a bright white light and everything went dark, and then here we are. Is this heaven?
All right.
Why does heaven look like Ann Arbor, Michigan?
All right, I'm doing a metaphor. John Collins being in the rumors is like if you're trying to get a girl and you're talking to her, you're doing everything right. Every text is pristine, every move in person pristine. You do all that you can. You have it in the bag, and there's even some signs like, yeah, this might work, and then just hanging on by a thread. You can't do enough to make the Hawks want to keep you. Can't do enough to get this girl. There's no way to reach it.
I'll build on your metaphor here, Tim. You know, my first girlfriend, not bragging, I've dated a girl before, and I know, I'm surprised to hear it too. My first girlfriend, I mean, she was literally on America's Next Top Model. Beautiful. Like, I was obsessed with her. She was tall, she was gorgeous, smart, funny, talented. And let me tell you something, though, brother. I went to Syracuse University. I get that wandering eye. And it's one of those things where you're just like, what are you doing here? Don't screw this up, buddy. You got a good thing here. You got the girl of your dreams, and you're looking at other girls now, too? What's wrong with you? That's how I feel about the Atlanta Hawks. They're like a bad boyfriend. Can we say shitty? They're a shitty boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm finally free. Yeah, they're like a crappy boyfriend that's like hitting on other girls, even though he's got like an 11 out of 10 back at home. It's like all his friends are looking around just being like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing? Yeah, but like, that's how I feel about it. And I feel like whatever they get in return, I fail to see how it's going to actually like work out in a way that they want it to. Maybe I'm wrong, but I definitely have spent the last couple of days throwing together some fake trades around here because, look, if the Atlanta Hawks don't like John Collins, much like her friend that's been hanging out with her for a couple years beforehand, I'm willing to swoop right in if they drop the ball on this one. You know what I mean? If they don't want him, that's fine. I'll take him. That's okay. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And boy, we got a lot of trash on the Pistons right now. I don't know if you've looked at the record recently, so they could use all the help they can get. I'll throw out a couple trades at you right now. I think, Tim, and this is the one that you were talking about with me right before we started this recording, the number one package that like makes the most sense. It's just 2 for 1. You send out Bojan Bogdanovic, you send out Saddiq Bey, you get back John Collins. And that makes sense for both teams. Like, for the Hawks, you're getting a young player in Saddiq who definitely gives you upside especially gives you some things that you don't necessarily have right now in terms of like the slashing, the finishing at the rim. You think about like all their like 2 threes, like Hunter, Bogdanovic, the other Bogdanovic. Those are guys that are like, they're shooters. They're not really finishing at the rim a whole ton. That's kind of what John Collins does for them. So I think somebody like Sadiq Bey makes a lot of sense. And then you're not losing anything shooting-wise. If anything, you're getting better shooting-wise because Bojan Bogdanovic and Bogdan Bogdanovic are 2 great shooters. And if you can
That's
combine
what we
those
need.
two, you need the Bogdanovic bros.
Yeah, we need it. Like,
right?
Everyone is always so confused on which one is on which team. Their names resemble their last names. Something you've never seen before.
Exactly.
But if they're on the same team, you can't confuse them because they're first names and they have different numbers. So, like,
Well,
you'll know.
Tim, now I'm also just realizing I've completely screwed up this whole podcast because the Pistons, the last time won the title, had 2 guys with the same last name on the team that weren't related to each other. You had the Wallace brothers.
So we
I'm doing it the wrong way. We need to get
Yeah.
Bogdan back on the Pistons. There's no way to make it work salary-wise, but it doesn't matter. We need to figure it out anyway. I do regret telling our listeners, I fucked up. That's on me. I have cost the Pistons the title. Whoops. But yeah, to me, that's the most
a mid-season trade for a brother. A mid-season trade for a
brother from another mother. That's really what they need. That's what the Pistons are lacking right now. They're lacking the Bogdanovic bros. But no, really, what I think is that to me makes sense for both sides. And genuinely, if that is a team that is interested in offloading one of their best players, and they're willing to take on Sadiq Bey, who, me, frankly, I'm at the point right now, I don't really want to pay him what he's probably going to want. And Bogdanovic, who is definitely like has a role on this team. Just 2 weeks ago on our main podcast, I said I didn't really want to trade him. I think he's a really good player. He's been one of the few players on the Pistons this year that has actually been consistent offensively. He's been one of the few guys that's been able to dig them out of a hole when they've gotten down in games. I mean, look, last night against like Denver, they don't win that game without Bogdanovic on the team, period. That's just not a game they win. So
yep.
I think he's a player that absolutely, like, if there's not a good trade package for him, keep him. But if you can get somebody like John Collins back, who's still young, who's under club control for the next 3 seasons after this one, that's a coup. That's 100% a coup for your team. You got another all-star, borderline all-star level talent. You can pair with Sadiq Bey, or you can pair with Kate Cunningham. You can pair with Jaden Ivey. Put Jalen Duren out there.
Can you imagine that lineup with, okay, if you have, say Diallo survives the trade, you can put out a lineup with Jaden Ivey, Hamidou Diallo, Jalen Duren, John Collins, and then pick your shooter on the roster. Like that's 4 dudes who will make it a track meet, and also, those guys in between like timeouts and stuff that jump up on the trampolines. It's like if they actually could make the ball in the basket.
Oh my god, I couldn't wait
because they miss it every time.
I think they'd have more dunks and turnovers than any lineup in NBA history. I think that is basically like a fact. That is just inevitable. That's how it would go down. But yeah, Tim, that's like a smart trade. But here at Palace of Pistons, and like you said, you follow me on Twitter, so I'm definitely not about being smart. I'm about going with vibes and basically the most chaos humanly possible. Yeah. So
share your screen, man. I need to see.
I'm gonna share my. Oh wait, 1 second. I need to close out of a couple tabs first. No, I'm just kidding. All right, wait. You're definitely gonna have to cut this out because I have no idea how to share my screen with you. Sorry to all of our listeners. I had to take a break to vape.
All right, Jasper has his first trade on the screen right now, including the Hawks, Pistons, and Hornets. Yes. So we gotta attend to the Sadiq rumors while we talk about the Pistons getting John Collins. This seems like a decent way to do that. For those listening at home, the Hawks are getting Bojan Bogdanovic and PJ Washington. The Pistons are getting John Collins and Jalen McDaniels.
That's right. You have the right McDaniels. Jaden's he's on the Timberwolves.
All right, yeah, it's cut off on the screen. And then Sadiq Bey goes to the Hornets. So talk me through this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I think really the one that makes the most sense is straight up Bogdanovic and Bey for Collins. That makes sense to me for both sides. But I think this one could work too. And the reason is, that is a team in the Hawks. If they're giving up a power forward in John Collins, they kind of need one back. And I don't necessarily see Bogdanovic as an answer there. God knows I've seen enough minutes of him at the power forward for the Pistons to know that dude's not a power forward. Like, it's horrible, especially defensively. So in order for them to get a defensive upgrade, which I think is really the main reasons why they want to trade Collins, you get somebody like PJ Washington, who's a very good defender, who can definitely rebound the ball for you, so you don't have that much of a drop there, something Sadiq Bey does not do well. And that helps you also with your shooting still. Like we've already said, Bogdanović is a great shooter. He's going to be a great shooter for any team that he's on, regardless of the position that he's playing. So if you're the Hawks, I think this is a trade that actually, honestly, would be preferable for me if I'm Atlanta in this case. I think I'd rather have PJ Washington with that roster than Sadiq Bey, because PJ Washington's not a super high usage guy. Sadiq Bey kind of is. And if you're going to have that kind of player on your team, you'd rather have that high defensive upside, which PJ Washington 100% can give you. For the Pistons, I mean, this is just even better, right? You're getting back John Collins, and you're also getting back McDaniels, who's a young player. He's only under contract for 1 more year, but there's still upside there, and you don't necessarily have to pay him. You can just see what you got there. That's definitely a dude that can come in and help you on both sides of the ball as well. And then if you're the Hornets, I think that this behooves you because they're talking about getting rid of PJ Washington themselves. I've seen the trade rumors thrown around. Again, it's kind of like the Collins thing where I don't really know why they want to do it, but sure, If you want to give away your good young players, more power to you, I suppose. So yeah, I think getting back somebody like Sadiq Bey, you still have under contract for an additional year after this. They have to pay PJ Washington going into this offseason. It gives you an extra year. You kick the can down the road, see where you are. Their season is a mess right now. And if they're not bringing back Miles Bridges, then why not replace him with a player that can give you that interior scoring, that's still going to give you a threat on the outside, and is not a very great defender, but can reasonably slide between 2-3 positions. Shooting guard down to power forward. So for me, I think this is a trade that makes sense for all 3 teams. I don't think it's too crazy. And I definitely think that all 3 of these teams get better because of this trade. So that's what I'm sticking with. Tim, I don't know. Where are you seeing in this?
I look at this like 2 separate trades. The Pistons are essentially trading Bojan for John Collins, which is like they're getting more than they're giving. But in the separate trade of giving away Sadiq, who teams across the league have been in love with in the past and tried to steal from the Pistons, there's NBA executives going on podcasts saying, like, I'm so mad the Pistons traded for Sadiq right there. So, like, Sadiq Bey has value. It's basically Sadiq for PJ and Bojan for John Collins, and those 2 even out. I think, like, this honestly is one of the best fake trades that I've seen. I'm not trying to gas up my buddy Jasper here. Like, every team should do this. The Pistons come away feeling like they got a steal. The Hawks get shooting and veteran presence for a guy they don't want. And the Hornets get a 6'8" thick wing who maybe can't jump as high as a certain troubled player that was on their team, but can shoot the crap out of the ball when things are going right. This trade, I mean, how can you top this?
Well, Tim, this is really the magic of the NBA trade machine. Full disclosure, I came up with this trade about 30 seconds before I hopped onto this podcast with you.
That's
the
good.
Other 2 trades I have right after this, I spent a little bit of time thinking about them. I went through some rosters. I thought things through. But here's the fact of the matter, Tim, and this is one of the things you need to know about the NBA if you're going to follow it. The more you think about trades, the less they're going to work. It's always the dumbest thing possible. That is what's going to happen. That's the world we live in. So don't think about it too hard. Don't put too much effort into anything. I'm not even really talking about trades anymore. These are just my tips for life, honestly.
Yeah,
so on that note,
that's why we're really here.
Yeah, that's really it. Here. I'm here to share life lessons with you. Vape and don't spend too much time on anything. Don't try hard. Don't prepare. Just go by the seat of your pants, and guess what? People are going to respect you for it. So let's go to that next trade. The one I spent a little bit more time thinking about, that's definitely not as good as the one I didn't think about.
All right, for those at home, the Pistons are acquiring John Collins. He's got a 4-year deal, around $25 million average. The Atlanta Hawks are getting. We use this thing that has like these cool sound effects. So check this out. the Atlanta Hawks are getting Jay Crowder and Cameron Payne, and the Suns are getting Bojan Bogdanovic.
Now it won't let me throw this into there, but I'm also giving the Hawks a Suns first round pick.
The Hawks get a Suns first round pick. Okay.
Yes.
So probably in the 20s.
Yeah. Late first.
All right. So we talked about what John Collins would mean to the Pistons. We haven't talked about what Bojan would mean to the Suns, but they're the team that wants him the most, it seems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, the way I look at this is they were already thinking about doing this trade with Utah beforehand. The reason they balked on it on the offseason is because they didn't want to give up that first-round pick. And that still might be the case. So if that is the case, then this trade is not going to happen, obviously. But if they have softened in their stance, if they're willing to give up that first-round pick for Bogdanovic, to me, this just seems like the Pistons, basically winning out of everybody else screwing up. Because the Suns had the opportunity to make this trade with Utah earlier on. It was this exact same layout. Jay Crowder, campaign, and a first. And they didn't want to do it. So if they feel differently now or at the trade deadline, I think that that's one that they should absolutely be fine with making because they already were thinking about it beforehand. It was already going to be the outline of whatever trade they were going to do. The Pistons, this is a complete coup for them because basically you've given up.
That's my question. Why do the Hawks get screwed by, they want Jay Crowder?
Yeah.
Right.
Separately. Jay Crowder helps them. Campaign also helps them. I don't know if you looked at their backup point guard situation. It's like Teo Maledon, and I guess you have Bogdanovic running the point, sort of. I mean, he.
So this is an indictment on the Hawks are dumbasses for wanting to get rid of John Collins.
Yes. Yes, I think that is the number one underlying things we should have throughout this entire thing. The Hawks are stupid for wanting to give up John Collins. They're dumb. They're dumb and they're wrong and they're stupid. And I don't respect them.
That is my official response to this trade. Is the Hawks show your ass here. You're dumb. You're getting rid of a player you shouldn't, and you get Jay Crowder, who will help you, but he's not John Collins.
And campaign also helps you. And a first round pick isn't nothing. Because they just gave up a whole bunch of them to get DeJounte Murray on their team. So if you can restock the cupboard a little bit there, you get a guy in Jay Crowder who can shoot, who can play defense, helps you out of that power forward position, and you have a really capable backup in campaign who can take the ball handling duties for your second unit. You don't have to stagger, especially in the playoffs, those lineups with Murray and Young. I think for me, that's definitely something that it gives you just a lot more versatility if you're the Hawks there. And while Bogdanovic would definitely help them a lot, I don't think this is a bad backup plan for them whatsoever, especially if you're being able to replenish that cupboard a little bit in terms of getting a late first-round pick. And then, of course, if you're the Pistons, congratulations. You just traded Saban Lee and Kelly Olynyk for John Collins. So, yeah, I love that.
Speaking of crazy trades.
Speaking of dumbass trades. And right. To my earlier point, Tim, this is the one I spent the most time thinking about. So
all right, so I'm gonna work different than what those watching on hopefully Twitter can see on the screen for those at home. The Pistons are acquiring John Collins and DeAndre Hunter. The Brooklyn Nets are acquiring Bojan Bogdanovic, Kevin Knox, Killian Hayes, and Hamidou Diallo.
He just turned the corner.
He's got value. And
he's got value now.
The Hawks are acquiring Ben Simmons.
Wait, do you have one of those? Yeah, there it is. That's the one I was looking for. Do you have one of those wah, wah sound effects on there too?
I don't.
How about I go boing?
Yeah, I have one of these.
That's very good too. That works for me as well. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, Tim. I was fucking around on this one. Yeah. Look, if I'm the Hawks, how do I justify this for the Hawks? I really should have thought that part of it through. No, okay, I can easily bullshit my way through this. So, look, if you're the Hawks, you need some more passing. You can never, I said it before, I've said it again, Tim. You can never have too much playmaking on your team. And if we know anything about Ben Simmons, it's he's a playmaker. Even if he has a wide open layup, he's going to create a shot for somebody else. We know that about him. And God knows they have enough players on that team that need shots. So really, if anything, you're helping yourself out. It's the perfect situation. John Collins takes up too much of their offensive load in Atlanta. They don't have enough shots for him. Well, guess what? You got a guy now who doesn't want to shoot ever. You know what I mean? It helps you out with your rebounding. He's a great rebounder, great passer. If you're the Pistons, well, obviously you do this because you get John Collins and Hunter for Bogdanovich and basically like 6 feet of crap. No offense to Kevin Knox, no offense to Killian Hayes, no offense to Hamidou Diallo. I think my favorite thing about this trade, however, is how broken the ESPN trade machine is, because they have the Pistons somehow losing 5 wins by trading away Bogdanovich, Knox, Hayes, and Diallo and receiving back John Collins and DeAndre Hunter. I don't know if you can explain that to me. I don't really know how that quite works. But yeah, this is, for me, a trade. Look, if you're the Nets as well, it also frees you up to trade away Joe Harris, which is something they've talked about. They don't want his contract on the books, and he's getting paid about the same much money as Bogdanovich is. So it frees you up to trade away Joe Harris. You still have a shooter on your team. I don't know, you get Hamidou Diallo to throw down some dunks, I guess. Kevin Knox back in New York, where he belongs. And then, yeah, I mean, I look at it like this, too. You trade away Ben Simmons, and you get back a whole bunch of crap. And I think that's really ultimately what the Nets are about. It's about trading away all your picks to get some players that fail, and then trading those players away for worse players so you can continue to fail and continue to maybe get some picks in the future. So that
is what they've shown in their recent history.
I think it's one of those things.
If anything, this is staying to the course for them.
Exactly. Look, from a basketball perspective, it's a terrible trade. But from a philosophical perspective, Tim, this matches what they're trying to do, which is be the most embarrassing franchise in the NBA, despite having Kevin fucking Durant on their team. So I think for me, this is definitely, it fits the spirit of the Brooklyn Nets. It works out great for the Pistons. And, well, the Hawks are stupid, so they should get a stupid player back in return. And that's how I feel about that one, Tim. Tim, was there any other trades that you had thought of that you might be able to throw at me that I wasn't thinking about, or?
No, I just have one final point to make. Honestly, this ties together the entire podcast. In the first section, I told Zariq about the Pistons' despair complex, and the key symptom of the Pistons' despair complex is their refusal to put a player on their second contract. And all of these deals where we get John Collins and DeAndre Hunter, and you don't have to worry about Jalen McDaniels because you don't have to keep him around. The Pistons don't want to pay a player's second contract. This way, by getting John Collins, by getting DeAndre Hunter, someone else did that. That's their problem. We, the Pistons, get the benefit.
It's all about the philosophy, Tim.
These trades are great. I hope the right people see this last crime that you've committed, and that you do go to jail for it. But
I deserve to be locked away forever.
Whoever is this John Hollinger that made this trade machine? Because who really needs to go to hell is you're right, the person who put +8 wins for a team acquiring. Imagine a team that acquires Bojan Bogdanovic, Kevin Knox, Killian Hayes, Hamidou Diallo, and gives away their third best player and is still in line to get 8 more wins.
I will say, yeah, if I go to jail, John Hollinger should be brought in as a co-conspirator. We're putting RICO charges on all these motherfuckers at ESPN. Let me tell you. Anyone who uses PER, you're no better than a getaway driver at a shootout. You know what I mean? Like, you are complicit. You should go to jail. Like that white kid from California who joined the Crips and, like, got off. That should not be one of the things that you don't get away with that. There is no safety for you. There is no hiding. There is no safe space. You are going to go to jail for your crimes against basketball humanity, and I'll be waiting for you. That padded cell, I'll get a seat warmed up for you, baby. Because John Hollinger, you've hated on the Pistons for so long. This is my revenge on you. I'm going to use your trade machine for nothing but evil. And here we are. Ben Simmons to the Atlanta Hawks. God
Here
have
we
mercy
are.
on all our souls.
Here we are, Jasper. Thank you, man. Appreciate this.
My pleasure, Tim. Tim, I also want to thank you for using my music. Much like Gucci Mane, I will definitely be releasing some stuff from prison when they do put me in the Hague for my crimes against basketball humanity. Oh, please. Stop.